pyramid era. Football back then was basically organised chaos. Teams played something called the 2-3-5 formation, which sounds like a math problem, but was actually their game plan. Picture this: 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 5 attackers. Yes, 5 guys just hanging around the opponent's goal like they're waiting for a bus. The goalkeeper was basically a spectator with gloves. No fancy saves, no sweeping. Just standing there hoping the ball didn't come his way too often. Defenders weren't allowed to pass the ball forward. Seriously, if you were a defender, your job was to kick the ball as far away as possible and pray someone else dealt with it. The offside rule was mental. You needed 3 players between you and the goal to stay onside. This meant attackers spent half the game arguing with referees about invisible lines. Teams scored goals like they were going out of fashion. 6-4 was a normal scoreline. Defending was for cowards, apparently. The WM formation era. Arsenal's Herbert Chapman looked at the pyramid and thought, "This is stupid." So he invented the WM formation, which looked exactly like those letters when drawn on paper. The centre-half dropped back to become a third defender. Revolutionary stuff. It was like discovering fire, but for football tactics. Wingers were the kings of football. These guys hugged the touchline like their lives depended on it. No cutting inside, no tracking back. Just run down the wing and cross the ball. The inside forwards were basically number 10s before anyone knew what number 10 was. They dropped deep, created chances, and scored goals, multitasking legends. Fullbacks stayed at home more than teenagers during lockdown. Their job was simple: don't let anyone past you. Going forward was someone else's problem. This formation dominated football for 30 years. Every team played it. It was like everyone wearing the same haircut because it was trendy. Catenaccio. The Italian wall. Italy looked at attacking football and said, "No thanks, we'll just not concede goals instead." Catenaccio means door bolt in Italian, and that's exactly what it was. A giant lock on the goal. The Libero, or sweeper, was football's security guard. He stood behind the defence, cleaning up any mess his teammates made. Think of him as the goalkeeper's bodyguard. Man marking was taken to extreme levels. Defenders followed attackers everywhere, to the corner flag, to the bench, probably to the bathroom if they could. Teams would score 1 goal and then spend 89 minutes making sure the other team didn't score. Exciting? No. Effective? Absolutely. Inter Milan won 2 European Cups playing like this. They'd score early, then turn into a human wall. Fans fell asleep, but they won trophies. The offside trap was their secret weapon. The entire defence would step up at exactly the same time, leaving attackers stranded like tourists without a map. Total football, the Dutch Revolution. Holland in the 1970s played football like it was invented by aliens. Every player could play every position. It was beautiful chaos. Johan Cruyff was the conductor of this orchestra. He'd start as a striker, drop to midfield, pop up on the wing, then somehow end up in defence. The man was everywhere. Positions were just suggestions. The left back might end up as a striker. The centre forward could be found defending corners. It was like musical chairs, but with football. Ajax and the Dutch national team made this work because their players were basically football geniuses. They could pass, dribble, tackle, and think faster than everyone else. The high defensive line was mental. Defenders played so high up the pitch, they needed oxygen masks. 1 long ball and they were in trouble, but they didn't care. Pressing was invented here. When they lost the ball, all 11 players would hunt it down like hungry wolves. No hiding, no jogging back, just pure aggression. This style needed perfect players. 1 weak link and the whole system collapsed like a house of cards in a hurricane. The Libero system. The sweeper was football's Swiss Army knife. He could defend, attack, pass, and probably make a decent cup of tea too. Franz Beckenbauer turned this position into an art form. He'd start attacks from his own penalty area and somehow end up scoring at the other end. 3 centre-backs became the norm. 2 man markers and 1 sweeper behind them. It was like having a safety net made of legs and tackles. Wing-backs were the marathon runners of football. They had to cover the entire flank, from their own corner flag to the opponent's. Fitness levels were insane. The sweeper had complete freedom. He could drop into midfield, spray passes around, or charge forward like a rampaging rhino. No rules, just vibes. Germany and Italy mastered this system. They'd frustrate teams with solid defending, then hit them with quick attacks led by the sweeper. When it worked, it was beautiful. When it didn't, teams got caught with too many players forward and not enough covering. Route 1 football. England looked at fancy passing and said, why bother? Instead, they just launched the ball as far as possible and hoped for the best. The goalkeeper would catch the ball and immediately punt it toward the biggest striker on the team. Subtlety was banned. Target men were built like rugby players. Their job was simple: win the header, knock it down, let someone else score. Think of them as human trampolines. Midfield was optional. Why pass through the middle when you can just skip it entirely? The ball spent more time in the air than on the ground. Wimbledon's crazy gang perfected this style. They'd kick everything that moved, launch long throws, and somehow beat teams with much better players. It was effective, but ugly. Like wearing socks with sandals. It worked, but nobody wanted to look at it. The offside trap became crucial. Defenders had to time their runs perfectly to catch strikers napping when the long ball came. Tiki-Taka, the Spanish symphony. Spain decided that keeping the ball was more important than actually doing anything with it, and somehow it worked brilliantly. Barcelona and Spain played like they were allergic to losing possession. Pass, 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 pass. Goal. Repeat for 90 minutes. Xavi and Iniesta were the puppet masters. They could find a teammate in a phone booth. Their passing was so accurate it made GPS jealous. The false nine confused everyone. Messi would start as a striker, but drop so deep he was practically playing midfield. Defenders didn't know whether to follow him or stay put. Pressing was coordinated like a military operation. Lose the ball and immediately swarm the opponent. No rest, no mercy, just constant pressure. Possession stats were ridiculous. 70% was normal, 80% was expected. The other team barely touched the ball, let alone created chances. It was hypnotic to watch. Pass after pass after pass, slowly pulling the defence apart until someone found a tiny gap to exploit. Gegenpressing, the German machine. Jürgen Klopp looked at pressing and thought, let's do this, but angrier. The idea was simple: lose the ball, get it back within 6 seconds. No exceptions, no excuses, just pure intensity. Players ran like their lives depended on it. Fitness levels reached new heights. If you couldn't run for 90 minutes at full speed, you couldn't play this system. The high line was extreme. Defenders played so high they could shake hands with the opposing goalkeeper. Risky? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. Counter-pressing meant attacking the ball immediately after losing it. No time to reorganise, no time to think, just hunt the ball down like a pack of wolves. Borussia Dortmund and later Liverpool made this famous. They'd win the ball back so quickly that opponents barely had time to celebrate getting possession. It was exhausting to watch, and even more exhausting to play against. Teams would be dead on their feet after 60 minutes. The false nine revolution. Pep Guardiola looked at traditional strikers and decided they were overrated. So he moved Messi deeper and broke football. The false nine would drop into midfield, dragging centre-backs with him. This created space for wingers to cut inside and cause chaos. Defenders had a nightmare. Follow the false nine and leave gaps behind. Stay in position and let him create chances. There was no right answer. Barcelona's 2009 to 2011 team perfected this. Messi would drop deep. Villa and Pedro would cut inside, and suddenly they had 4 attackers in the box. It required incredibly intelligent players. The false nine needed to know when to drop, when to stay, when to drift wide. It was like playing chess at 100 miles per hour. Traditional centre forwards became extinct overnight. Everyone wanted a false nine, even if their players couldn't actually play the position. The system eventually died because teams figured out how to defend against it. But for a few years, it was unstoppable. Football evolved faster than a teenager's music taste. What worked in one era became useless in the next. Players got fitter, faster and smarter. Tactics that relied on opponents being slow or stupid stopped working. The offside rule changes killed some systems. Others died because players became too good at exploiting their weaknesses. Modern football is too fast for some old tactics. Route 1 doesn't work when defenders can run as fast as strikers. Video analysis exposed every weakness. Teams could study opponents for hours and find ways to break any system. Money changed everything. Better players meant better execution, which meant old tactics needed upgrading or replacing. But here's the thing. These old tactics weren't stupid. They were perfect for their time. Football keeps evolving, and today's revolutionary tactics will probably look ancient in 20 years. That's the beauty of football. It never stops changing, never stops surprising us, and never stops making us argue about whether the old days were better. Which football generation do you think had the most interesting tactics? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed learning about football's tactical evolution, hit subscribe for more Football Explainer videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.